Welcome to this Friday, Whiteout Eve. Oh, look at you already in gear for it.
How about it? Figured I'd be unbiased tomorrow, but I'd be a little biased today. I think that's only fair.
If you were asking where my white outfit is, no offense, but I had to wear white to do something for CBS on Monday night. I had to wear white for the whiteout at the quarterback club, and of course there's tomorrow. Okay? Not today. Okay. Felt like going with something different. All right? Felt like going with something different, so that's why I've worn enough white this week until I get to tomorrow. And then tomorrow, of course, we're all set to go on what we have to wear. That's fine. So the game itself, it sounds like, let's do plus and minus on personnel here. The Jazzy and Patterson and Caleb Johnson, the two running backs, are out. So LaShawn Williams is very good in his own right. Will be the starting running back. And Moulton, whom I watched the Western Michigan tape. He's good. You can tell why they're excited about him. And Washington, the other freshman, will be the other two running backs. No Luke Lachey, everybody knows that, but Eric All's really good. Eric All's really good. Now, you missed the 1-2 punch of Lachey and All, so you have to work around that, but All is really good and on the same page with McNamara. It sounds like they're going to get Jamari Harris back from a suspension at corner. Good player. They're saying, well, he might play instead of Cooper DeJean. Cooper DeJean's really a good player. I would expect DeJean to start, by the way. But they will get, it sounds like, Jamari Harris back. Penn State has been, knock on wood, okay. Knock on wood. They've been okay. And now they have this game tomorrow night. Crowd will be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Even if there are a few showers. Look, I know everybody's looking at the weather. And to be honest with you, it is a complete mixed bag where there may be a couple of showers here and there, and then during the game a few showers here and there, and there's going to be periods of time during the game it's not raining. I don't think anybody knows.
No.
I couldn't tell you. I'm not a meteorologist, but my map does have 48 states, unlike some. I worry about a couple of them out there. Like, your map only has 47 states. What? But part of this is that there is a patch of dry air, which of course we've been in, which has a tendency to push a little bit. So we'll see if it pushes enough. We'll find out. We all know what Iowa does, and there's certain things they they're really good at. They're really good defensively. They're really good at disguising. They'll have a two deep look sometimes, and then there are times where it looks like a two deep look, and they're playing quarters, which means they've got four guys with 1/4 of the field. Okay, all right. And the addition of Nick Jackson, an outside linebacker from Virginia, he's been a big plus for them. He has played well to this point. They have a quarterback that has always been solid, not spectacular, but solid. He was solid at Michigan. He has been solid so far, but he did injure his foot in the preseason. And you can see to this point it has affected his mobility. Reganey, the wide receiver, you'd love to have him on your team.
Mm-hmm.
He just makes plays. Is he the flashiest, the best? Is he going to be first, second, third team all Big Ten? No. But man, you'd like to have him on your team. He plays. He's a good player. Good offensive line. Good kicking game. Taylor's an excellent punter. Stevens, the place kicker. All his kickoffs have been touchbacks. He's 17 for 17. And he's the only field goal he missed was beyond 40. All of his field goal makes have been under 40 so far. But, he's a known entity. He's a good player. And, of course, we know what Penn State has done to this point. Like Iowa 3-0, the difference is Penn State's had a conference game under its belt. Iowa played all its non-conference games to start the season. Utah State, Iowa State, and Western Michigan. Of the three teams, Utah State might be the best.
There's not much competition, and I think it's, when you look at it, it really is, especially how they were designed pre-injury and how they're designed right now. This is the Iowa team you're used to when it comes here. There's no question about it. Offensive line is always strong. That's always going to be their bread and butter offensively. They usually have that physical tight end. They have that. They have a quarterback that is good but not great. It's the same spot pretty much, and you pride yourself in the running game, and they proved it going 3 deep here. Your third string running back is a very effective running back. I think there's no question about it, and this is definitely an Iowa team that is, they're used to the moment, I think, but I think when you look at this team, Cade McNamara first and foremost. He played here when Michigan came here a couple years ago. Not at night, though. I think it's a little bit of a different animal when you're playing at night under those lights in prime time, I think, without a doubt. And it's a lot of people will roll the eyes or shake their head when you say the crowd affects a game. The crowd affects a game. I don't care what to. There are great all-time greats that aren't rattled. The crowd affects a game when it comes to the atmosphere of the whiteout. There's no doubt about it. They will have an impact tomorrow, and a big one. Oh, remember, Michigan had to call a timeout. First play of the game. Off the bench. Yeah. All right, okay. That's how loud it can get in there. Yeah. And, It is the best atmosphere. There's no getting around. It's to me, yeah. At least I have not been to the quote 12th man. I have not been to that kind of atmosphere, but to me, there's no better atmosphere in college football. I've not seen one. No, it's phenomenal, and it's great. But like I said, I had to wear white Monday for something. I had to wear white on Wednesday. Okay. Last night I showed up at the coach's show, blue golf shirt. Today I've got this on. Well, the predicament I don't have white that's not Penn State. That's almost every shirt and polo I own that is white is Penn State's. Well, that's good. I will have to. You're good. You're in good shape. I will have to think. Oh, I have enough white stuff. Yeah, that's everybody knows that. I mean, I have more than enough. But couldn't keep wearing the same stuff all week. I couldn't keep wearing the same color all week. I'm sorry. It's like no offense. I just couldn't do it. I said, all right, I need a break. Okay. Well, when it comes to Saturday, I'll have white on. Okay. Wore white on Wednesday when they wanted to, the quarterback club. I had to wear white on Monday night. Okay. After that, it's, we can change up during the week. It's good. And something tells me people driving into the game today are not all wearing white. No, I wouldn't think so. No. I wouldn't think so. They're all saving it for one big day. Exactly. Let's go for it. It is a big weekend altogether. Florida and Clemson State start things off at noon tomorrow. It's interesting that Clemson has, over the years, been the better team and program over Florida State. The question is going to be, after watching Florida State beat LSU, have they passed Clemson out? Because Clemson, of course, had that early conference loss to Duke on opening night. Everyone knows what the
philosophy is of Dabo Swinney. Now, when you look at Florida State, they've gone into the transfer portal. I mean, Keon Coleman out of Michigan State's been a big plus for them. But we know that that Clemson and Dabo Swinney want to stay away from the transfer portal. I'm not quite sure where they are on NIL. So I apologize. I would only be guessing where they are on NIL.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, and I've seen their facilities.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, their facilities are really incredible, to their credit, because Penn State was down there for basketball last November, right after Thanksgiving. So I had an opportunity to see some of this stuff. Like, okay. But you know what they're not? I was able to get a glimpse of, I don't know, just a few minutes of practice. They were getting ready for the ACC championship game when I was there. I was able to get a glimpse of just a few minutes of practice. You know what really struck me about them? They're not really athletic. And that's what really struck me about Clemson. I'm watching, like going, okay. Like certain guys, stand out. There's certain guys that are really, really good. But like their wide receivers are not that athletic. No. And that's what strikes me. Now, the running back is really good. Yeah. He's really good. But the wideouts don't get much separation. And then I'm watching the Duke game. They're getting no separation. And we'll see what happens moving forward, because I know he is big on development. I admire the fact that he wants to do things his way.
Yeah.
So I am not going to be critical of him for wanting to do things his way, because he has a standard and he wants to stick by a standard. He feels like if he is bringing in people from the transfer portal, is he being disloyal to the guys that are already there? Okay. But then there's another part to it. It's available. He does have some holes at Clemson. And a couple of the holes happen to be guys that can maybe break free and play at wide receiver. They don't have breakaway wideouts. They don't.
No.
And to me, the transfer portal is a part of your recruiting process.
At this point, it definitely
you are not throwing people off the team to make room for these guys.
Yeah.
Okay? There are already openings that exist.
Yep.
And that's why you do it.
The great coaches will not make it your recruiting process, make it part of the recruiting process where you're plugging in, hey, I need this position. Get to the portal, rather than building your whole team, which other universities have done.
Right.
My pure guess, and this is complete conjecture, in terms of, I think the coaches that have spoken out the most on NIL is because they're behind the eight ball.
No, I agree.
I think when you're looking at it, I think, and you're seeing it clear as day now in college football on a lot of programs that I think, to me, are just not up to speed yet on it, and that's why they have spoken about it.
You're probably right about that. That's an excellent assessment. You look at Notre Dame and Ohio State, for example. They both have been judicious with how they've used the transfer portal, but Notre Dame, because of the transfer portal, now at least has a quarterback that on a collegiate level can really play, and that's Sam Hartman. I'm not saying that now, will Sam Hartman be on a roster next year in the NFL? I think he'll be on a roster on the 53, but he's not going to be, I'm sorry, he's not a priority guy that you have to have. As a college quarterback, he's very, very good, and he's exactly what Notre Dame needed. Notre Dame's big problem in their game with Ohio State tomorrow night is going to be quite simple. They're off to a great start. The win over NC State was impressive. But let's go back. What did I say about Clemson? Clemson's not as athletic as they used to be.
Right.
That's still Notre Dame's problem. They are not an athletic team in many key areas. Ohio State may be off to a good start, maybe not blowing people out, but they're off to a good start. But Ohio State still has athletes.
They do, and I think they started to find themselves a little bit last week too, offensively especially. And I think they're starting to slowly get into that Ohio State rhythm that you see. And you saw it under Urban Meyer. This team struggled first 3 or 4 weeks of the season. It happened almost every year, and they lost at home to Virginia Tech under Urban Meyer. They won the national title. Definitely a team that is, but I think they're finding themselves. And the other part of it is, and look, I think this will be a great game. I really do. But the other part of it is Notre Dame isn't sneaking up on Ohio State like I think they may have done last year. I thought last year, week 1, I don't think Ohio State was ready for what Coach Freeman brought to the table.
Marcus Freeman, that's his side of the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And now I think they are more prepared for it, and I think it's going to be a great game. The atmosphere is going to affect it. Notre Dame is going to be electric tomorrow night, no doubt about it.
Yeah. Can Hartman help disguise some of their issues athletically?
I think so, and that's
that'll be important.
The big question.
And they also have a couple of issues athletically on defense too.
Yeah,
where they have some good football players, but they don't have a lot of athletes. It's one thing about Ohio State; they've got athletes almost not everywhere, but almost across the board. And can McCord do a good job? I mean, he's got the luxury of having.
He's got the talent.
He's got Henderson. He has Williams. He has Stover. He has Harrison. He has Egbuka. He's got Fleming.
Yeah.
He's got some good people around him. Offensive line is okay. For Ohio State.
I think is
it's not. It's good, but not great.
I think from a Notre Dame perspective, you got to get off to a good start. Now, that's where I think what has hurt them really through these first couple weeks. They let Central Michigan hang around, and obviously ended up winning convincingly. NC State, that was a little bit of a...
But that was on the road.
It was on the road, and it was the weather was not great. So I kind of throw that game out. Navy, even early on, was a little bit of a push, and then Notre Dame obviously pulled away third quarter on. But to me, I think the start is going to be critical tomorrow for Notre Dame. You got to get off to that good start, got to keep the crowd into it and keep that atmosphere alive, and do your best to rattle who is still a first-year starter in Kyle McCord. Now, he's played in big games. He's played in big games at the high school level. He's played in big games at every level.
You can play big games on the high school level.
It's an adjustment, no doubt. It's absolutely. It's different. It's a lot different.
I mean, I realize from the field you can't see touchdown Jesus anymore.
Well, which isn't fair.
Huh?
It's not fair. I'm
just saying.
They shouldn't have done that. But no, I agree. And it's a different animal completely. Speed of the game is different, and this is going to be their first true test. You're in a non-conference game on the road, and as you said, Notre Dame Stadium is always going to be a large atmosphere, and there's no doubt about it.
I know they've gone to great efforts to keep Ohio State fans out of there.
Good luck.
Well, I mean, here's the issue. It's not that you can't control it.
No,
because you can't control people who want to sell their tickets because they want the money.
Because they want the money. Exactly.
That's the part you can't control.
No.
Okay. I mean, believe me, has it ever happened here? Yeah. I mean, I'll look down, I'll see Michigan fans sitting at the 50-yard line. It's like, yeah, it's great. Yeah. Yeah. You couldn't have found a Penn State person to sell it to? No, really? Okay. All right. It's fine. You did pay for the ticket, so it is yours. But
wait till Sunday night football to see how many. See if they can keep those Steelers fans out of Vegas. I don't see it happening.
Well, yeah, you are going to Las Vegas. I remember when Notre Dame played Nebraska.
Yeah. Yep.
Many years ago.
I remember this.
And Nebraska fans who traveled great to begin with invaded that place.
Yep. Number 1 Nebraska at the time. Yeah.
And I'm talking 30,000. Mm-hmm. It's 30,000 fans in there.
Yep.
And the Notre Dame people, were horrified. Like, Well, I'm sorry, your fans sold them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
and Notre Dame at that time was a 7-5 football
Right,
team.
they were,
And
yeah.
Nebraska was number 1 in the country. Yeah, that was, and went to overtime. That was a great game. But yeah, absolutely, that's
but Nebraska fans invaded,
big time.
and that was a big problem.
Yeah.
And the so that'll be tomorrow. Your team won last night.
They did.
Yeah.
Slow start, but finished strong. And that's Thursday night football, to me in a nutshell. I think you're going to see a lot of teams do exactly that. Short week. You don't have...
No Barkley.
No Barkley, absolutely.
It just takes away.
They're still
so
wondering
much.
if Daniel Jones cashed his check yet or not.
It's but the bottom line is, especially early on, the Giants could not stop Christian McCaffrey. Brock Purdy so far has been good, but
enough to win.
But no better than good.
No, and I think
I wouldn't call him very good. I think he's been good.
He's been
to
good.
This point.
Yeah,
but
he's
only
just as
good, but only good.
Yeah,
he hasn't been mediocre. He hasn't been poor. He's been good.
He's not turned it over. I think that's the most important part. But the other part of it, there's just so many weapons on that team offensively. It's hard to judge how good he's been too. His numbers don't show it whatsoever. But the other part of it is just. You have Deebo Samuel, and when he's healthy, Brandon Ayuk, probably the best running back in football, and McCaffrey, one of the best tight ends in football, and George Kittle on that offense. It's hard to judge how good the quarterback has played.
Trent Williams was not good last night.
No, he wasn't. He struggled dramatically through a punch, no less. And
how surprised he didn't get thrown out.
I was very surprised he didn't get thrown out for that. I think the league will review it. There's no question about it. But yeah,
the league made a statement later and backed up the officials on that call.
Yeah, it's
like he threw a punch. He hit a guy.
Yeah, literally.
I mean, now
he was the second person, but still threw a punch.
Now he hit a helmet.
Yeah, but still,
which isn't smart.
No.
Like, I mean,
no. You're gonna be hurting your hand for a little while there.
Yeah.
He has that. He's done that though, where he has a game or two where he just struggles.
But he's still
he's the best lineman. Yeah, he's best tackle in football. There's no doubt.
He's one of them.
Yeah,
he's one.
He's on that list. Yeah.
He'd be one of the 5 you'd be talking about.
Yeah.
He's not Anthony Munoz, but.
No, I don't think too many people are Anthony Munoz or Orlando Pace. No, those guys are in a world of their own.
Okay. There's so many young people I have no idea who we're talking about right now.
No.
Who's Anthony Munoz?
You even go back to the first pick of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Tony
Baselli, one of the first picks, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, those guys were so good. And it drives me nuts that select, and I say select, not all. Select Steelers fans just do not give Joe Thomas credit. My goodness, that guy was good.
Look.
Come on.
This is what makes them fans, okay?
I'm a fan too. I give Emmitt Smith credit.
They hate Cleveland.
I hate the Cowboys.
Cleveland can't have anybody good. Myles Garrett's no good. Denzel Ward's no good. Nick Chubb's no good.
Yeah, Nick Chubb.
Like you're sitting there like going, with each statement, I've got to admit,
your credibility
on football knowledge would be going down. It's like, okay, this is what I think. No, I already heard what you thought, and I don't really hear anything else from you.
I'm bitter when it comes to Brett Favre, Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, but when it comes to me, if I ever had a Hall of Fame vote, they're in. There's not a shadow of a doubt.
Well, there's a reason why you would vote for them, because that means they're retired.
That's true. That is true.
And you're glad you're rid of them.
Well, I love how the Niners beat Brett Favre when he was a Jet, thinking, "Oh, sure, now you finally get."
Yeah.
You didn't need a catch with 8 seconds to go and a miracle to beat him for once.
This will be the CBS number 1 team, by the way.
Yeah, Nessler.
So it'll be Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson on the game, tomorrow night. So, and get used to it. CBS will get the full boat
Yeah.
of games next season. This season, of course, they have to split it. This is the last year of the SEC contract. And you know what? There you go.
Yeah, and I think it's going to help the other networks too when it happens. I think you're going to get better primetime games for NBC too, because it's going to be direct competition going after the games. I think that's what's going to make it even better. Yeah, you're looking at the first couple of weeks, and look, the selection. There wasn't many to select. You're going to have a great one tomorrow night for NBC. But when you look at
it's a Notre Dame.
It's
game.
Exactly. It's a Notre Dame
broadcast.
Game.
It is not.
It's not a Big Ten.
It is not a Big Ten
exactly.
game. It is a Notre Dame game. That's why they have the game. Right?
Otherwise, somebody else could have gotten it.
If it turned out that ESPN had the Notre Dame contract, the game would be on ESPN tomorrow night, not on NBC.
Not on NBC. But I think,
and in all likelihood, NBC would be doing this game.
No doubt about it. But you look at the first couple of weeks, Penn State and West Virginia is the best game they've had. Not even close. Yeah. And I think when it comes to, down the stretch, they'll get a couple of good ones. They'll get Michigan State. But it's in terms of rivalry, they'll get good ones. Not quality of game, but I think
Michigan State.
That's what I mean. Quality of game's not going to be. The rivalry game is still there, but quality of game.
One of the best things that could have happened to Michigan State football last week was that the game was on Peacock.
Yeah, I was surprised it was too. I was very surprised they didn't take that game over Purdue Syracuse. But for them, they're fortunate they didn't.
I'm fortunate in that I can afford to get a full boat on cable. And to be honest with you, I do not have HBO. I do not have Showtime.
No,
I don't have
any of that stuff.
I don't have any of that stuff. I don't. I do have Amazon Prime.
Yeah, same.
But I think I have Amazon Prime not because of it, because of Xfinity. I have Amazon Prime because I have an Amazon Prime membership.
Yeah, same.
Okay. I don't know if I have Peacock. I don't know. I've never tried to hook it up. But I have ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, CBS Sports Net. I have Fox Sports 1. I have Fox. I have ABC, CBS, NBC. Right? I've got USA Network. I've got all sorts of viewing options for college football. All sorts.
Yeah.
I have the CW.
I think I have that.
No, I think I have it some level on my cable.
I was going to say, I think I have it. I can't confirm it. I don't exactly watch it often.
WPIX
became
Channel 25 is a CW.
Yes.
So if you go to Channel 25, you can get it.
Yeah, so that might be. I should have it then.
But I have all these options.
Sure.
When it comes to this, I have NFL Network. I have NFL Red Zone.
Those. Yep.
I have MLB Network. If I want to watch that.
Yeah. Same.
I have NHL Network. I have NBA TV. I have all of that. That I just said, hey, look, just give me the expanded sports package. I took it. When it comes to the streaming part, I watched the Giants 49ers game last night.
That's the first Thursday night game I've watched in its entirety. I've watched some of the Eagles game.
I watched some of the Eagles game, and then
saw some of the Lions.
Some of the Lions
Chiefs.
game.
Yeah.
Well, that was on NBC, though.
Yeah.
That wasn't on Prime.
No,
that was only the second Prime. Next week, it's Green Bay, Detroit. And I'll watch that.
Yeah, I'll watch some of it. Absolutely.
Especially the college game last night was Coastal Carolina and Georgia State. And so I had no interest in that game at all. And so I watched the Giants game last night, and I streamed it. And by the way, the quality of it was terrific. Last year, I used to get the dreaded circle all the time.
Yeah, no, I didn't get it last night.
I've watched two Prime games back to back each week. Signal. It looks like it's network quality all the way through.
I go back to the first one they had. I think 49ers and Cardinals was the first game they put on Amazon Prime. That was the previous year, prior to last year.
Right.
That was their test game, and it was bad. Yeah, I definitely had trouble with it, but they've gotten a lot better.
Yeah, way better. But I have no desire to watch a game on Peacock. Now, I know when it comes to basketball. I think they're going to have at least 37 games this season on Peacock. Yep. And let's face it, there's going to be more next year when Oregon, Washington, USC, and UCLA come in because of the inventory. But I mean, the first 2 nights of the Big Ten tournament in Minneapolis on March what day is that going to be? March, let's see, 9, 10, let's see, 11, 12, March 13th.
Yeah.
Okay, which is the Wednesday. Are on Peacock.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just can't.
I think
you do yourself a disservice doing that. I realize that more people are streaming. I've got that.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, take for example, let's jump ahead here. Ford Field.
Yep.
Black Friday, Penn State, Michigan State in Detroit. The game is on NBC. The game is also on Peacock.
Right.
So if you don't have NBC, you want to stream, want to watch on your phone, you can.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's the way to go. Tomorrow night's game. Tomorrow night's game is on Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus, yeah.
Right. Okay. So it's on CBS and Paramount Plus.
Yes.
To me, that's the way to go. Give the fans the options of, hey, if you want to stream, you can go to Paramount Plus. You want to watch over the air, it's on CBS.
Yeah.
You want to watch the game at Ford Field, it's on NBC. You want to stream it, it's on Peacock. The options. The problem I'm having is when they're trying to force you to go to the streaming route. You're like, no, you can't. You can try and ram something down somebody's throat all you want, and people are going to make up their own minds. Mm-hmm. When they talk about people cutting the cord, ESPN was at 100 million, right? Now they're at 73, 74 million. So they've lost 26 million subscribers. They still have 73 million of them, though. They didn't go from 100 million down to 7.3 million. They went to 73 million. They still have 73 million subscribers. Okay? FS1 has 74 million. They actually have more subscribers. Right? That's still a chunk out there.
Mm-hmm.
Big.
Sure.
Are more and more people streaming? Sure. But are people streaming in mass?
No.
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 And I say this with all due respect, electric cars.
That's, I think, the perfect example.
Electric cars. Yeah, buy an EV, buy an EV, buy an EV, buy an EV. Okay, you know what the latest
stats show? And some people will.
And some people
most
will.
won't.
And guess what? That is their choice.
And
you can choose whatever vehicle you want. That is your choice, and I would never tell you what choice to make. That's your choice. But 93% of all vehicles bought this year have been gas-powered cars, and only 7% have been EVs.
Right.
Some of it is expense.
It's a big part of it.
Right. Some of it is expense. Some of it is They don't want to charge up a vehicle. I don't know, how long do these go? 250?
Yeah, and that's
how many miles are they going to charge?
I'm not sure, and that I think is part of it. I think that's part of.
But that's all we get are commercials for EV, EV, EV. So you're sitting there like, but what if I don't want an EV?
Yeah. And we don't know how many miles they charge. That's another reason why. The unknown is a big reason why. And streaming is the same way.
And how long it takes to charge.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm not going to waste it. And what if it goes wrong? How much is it? How much is the battery?
Absolutely. No idea.
There is a great skit. I mean, I'm just saying. But again, if you think that is the right move for you,
go for it.
Go for it. I am behind you all the way. But if somebody wants to buy a gas-powered car, guess what? I'm behind them all the way, too. You make your choice. There is a great Saturday Night Live skit. This is from like 2016, maybe. Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Right? I think it was, of course, they do the faux commercials. It was for the battery-powered Mercedes.
Yeah.
And I had to send it to Jack. I said, "You've got to watch this." The entire battery is filled with the entire car is filled with double A's. Right? it tells you when there's a battery issue. Right, you hit the button.
Yeah.
Deet, 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 deet. It's all over the car, right? Because there's so many batteries in the car. All these double A's. He says, and every once in a while, you have to do a wholesale change. It's very easy to do. And she, just like you would do with a tape recorder, you pull it and all the batteries come out. She pulls the cord, and they just come out in droves.
Oh, boy.
The battery-powered Mercedes, whatever, but it was all AA batteries. And the trunk has spares, right? And the spares in the back are all AA batteries. It was really good. It was one of those slices of genius, whomever wrote it, and she is,
phenomenal. There was
her son who played for Northwestern. He's a walk-on at Northwestern basketball. Mm-hmm. All right, and he was a walk-on.
Yeah.
Everybody will put on Twitter, "I've decided to return to Penn State. I've decided to enter the draft after careful consideration and contemplation." Right. So he's a walk-on. All right. He puts out this big Twitter announcement that he's returning for his junior season or something like that. Like, only her son would do that. I thought, that was clever. I liked it.
That is, absolutely.
I liked it. So tonight you got CD.
Yeah.
CD, what, East?
Regular CD.
Just regular CD?
Central Dauphin, yes.
Central Dauphin. Always been a tough matchup.
Always been a tough matchup. It's been one for State College. Last year, I think, was the first time I saw State College as the favorite, and they won, obviously, last year when undefeated in the regular season. I see them as the favorite this year.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think it's always – they match up so well. And it's again, you made the point yesterday worth repeating. Records don't matter as much as matchups do. I think this matchup is, to me, going to be another tough one for State College. CD's down a little bit. I think they still have a few holes they've got to plug in, but always a challenge for State College. And I think it's a chance to get that offense going in a big way. I thought they did that in the second quarter last week. Yeah, we're down 7-0 going into that second quarter, scored 28 points, really got that offense going. And I think you've got to just continue that rhythm. You still have some injuries, but I think a lot of weapons on offense that you've got to take advantage of. And I think that's a big part of tonight's game. Just get that offense in rhythm, get that offense going, get Deontay Sheffy going. I think teams are keen on him, as I knew that would be the case.
Sure.
And now you really have to get that balance going. And you have now, Owen Yerker goes down beginning of the year prior to the first game. Eddie Corkery comes in, pocket passer, which is not State College's
bread and butter.
Normalcy. Yeah, it's not their bread and butter, not their normalcy, but they've adjusted real well. I think Corkery has done a phenomenal job. I think he's earned. He took a heck of a beating in that second game in the loss to Downingtown East, and still threw for 300 yards. Got up every time. I think that earned the respect and admiration of not only the players, but I think the fans too. And that's where the offense starts. I think there's no doubt.
Do you like going back to one team, or is there a part of you that misses going around the county like you did?
In terms of like just calling one team?
Yeah.
Oh, I love, the State High has been, I feel like State, and all great respect to Bellefonte, BEA, the PO, Penns Valley. State High has been the home, I think, for me for many years.
Sure. Oh, I'm sure you missed it.
Yeah, and I missed it. There's no question about it. I think that's, I would lean more towards calling the State College games, because I love being in the Mid-Penn since 2006. And in football, 2005 or 6, I think it was 6. And they have quality of opponents are always great. I love when State College plays Harrisburg. Love when State College plays CD. I do miss State College playing McDevitt. There were some classics there. But I think when you look at the Mid-Penn Commonwealth and what State College is able to do, the competition is there. There's no question. But I always think when State High plays Harrisburg on a Saturday, I check the Friday night lights. I always go to a Bellefonte game or a Penns Valley game. Part of me misses that, but State High has always been the program that I've looked at, and as enjoy calling their games.
This is where I give people like Brad Nessler and Gary Danielson a lot of credit. Because when you do what they do on the national level, whether it's Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, whomever, Noah Eagle, Todd Blackledge, you have to get up to speed on both teams. Now, you will eventually get fortunate the more games that you do that, for example, Gary Danielson and Brad Nessler, how many times have they seen Alabama? How many times have they seen Georgia? So it becomes easier. But for example, they both saw Penn State last year, right? And which was a year ago. So they only saw a few series of Drew Aller at the end. Okay. But they haven't seen Iowa at all. And so they have to come in and get up to speed on everything both teams do. Less with Penn State because they saw them last year, but still, every year you're a little bit different. Noah Eagle, now he did a game for FS1 last year. Here.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the first time he'd seen Penn State. But for Todd, he may be a Penn State great, but he's been doing ESPN games. Now he's done a couple games with Sean McDonough here. McDonough, by the way, is top shelf, great guy.
Agreed.
I personally and professionally, I like Sean a lot. Suddenly I'll be driving along and I'll text him and I'll say, "Hey," he said, "I'm listening to the Red Sox, man. It's back." And I asked him, by the way, about the NHL. He loves doing the NHL.
That's cool.
No,
That's excellent.
He says one of the greatest experiences of his career has been doing the NHL. But when you have to come in and figure out what everybody does, Todd, to his credit, in the off season, made his way around to various camps in the Big Ten because he wanted to get a feel and a read for it, including here. He came here. The reason I know is he told me, which he'd already gone to, I think Penn State was his 6th stop, because he wanted to see practices in person and also have the coaches see him and talk to him, so that it would not be enough familiar face during the season. I give these guys a lot of credit, where they've got to go around every week. Me?
Yeah.
I have to worry about one team. Right? In terms of getting ready for it.
Yep.
And that's the opponent. Right? Now, they haven't played Iowa in 2 years, but a lot of those guys, Jay Higgins is still there.
Yep.
Cooper DeJean is still there. Quinn Schulte's still there. I've seen McNamara at Michigan. I've seen Eric All at Michigan. Reganey's still there. You still got guys that are there that were there from 2 years ago. Penn State's got Northwestern next week. They played Penn State last year.
Yeah.
Now, have they changed a couple of guys? Yeah. Has the coaching staff changed? Sure. UMass takes a lot more work.
Sure.
Because I haven't seen UMass in years. All right. All new coaching staff, all new players, lots of transfers, including Tyler Rudolph from Penn State, who's their starting safety. But then after that, after they're done with UMass, they have 6 division games. I see those teams every year. Right? So there's work, but I already, you want me to run down? You saw off the top of my head what I did with Ohio State's lineup to begin with at the beginning of the show. I can do that with Indiana. I can do that with Maryland. I can do that with Michigan. I can do that with Rutgers. I can do it with Michigan State because they play him every year. Noah Kim's been the quarterback at Michigan State. Well, it's been Peyton Thorne. Well, Noah Kim got in the game a couple of years ago against Penn State. So it's not like I've never seen him before. I have. All right. Sure, there's some freshmen that are going to be playing. Sure, there's some transfers I haven't seen before. But in terms of the preparation for it, Gary Danielson and Brad Nessler haven't been face-to-face with an Iowa team in years. Years. Okay? So they've had to go through a whole learning curve. I don't know in terms of style what a learning curve there is in Iowa, but a whole learning curve on Iowa. right?
Yeah.
And they'll be doing that with almost every team in the Big Ten this year. Again, they saw Penn State last year because they played Auburn.
Yeah.
Right? So that does help. But it takes a lot for these guys to do these games on a weekly basis. Who the heck ended up with Colorado, Oregon? I was surprised it wasn't Fowler and Herb Street.
Yeah, that's a 3:30 game.
I was surprised it wasn't them because they put them on which SEC night game? It's not. I don't think it's Alabama. Ole Miss is going to be Tommy McCarthy.
CBS McCarthy.
Yep. Tommy McCarthy and Ross Tucker.
Yep.
Doing that game down in Tuscaloosa. What game did they end up with? They end up with Mississippi State, maybe? I'm trying to think who they ended up with. You'd have to look that one up because I think I ran it down yesterday, and so I'm not quite sure what game they ended up with.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
I was surprised they didn't get Colorado, Oregon, and the reason why I'm surprised they didn't get Colorado, Oregon is the fact that next week they can't have Colorado, USC.
Yeah, because Fox has it.
Right, Fox has that game. Let's see if there's college football.
Arkansas LSU is that the game?
That doesn't sound like. Really?
Looking at, let's see here.
What's the 7:00 games?
It is Arkansas and LSU.
Yeah, that's on ESPN. I guess maybe that's it.
That might be it. Because they don't have clubs at Florida State. That's McDonough, right?
Yeah, McDonough's doing that game. Sean's doing that game with Greg McElroy.
Yeah, that very well might be.
I think you're right. That is the game. I think Arkansas and LSU.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I don't know why you wouldn't put them on that.
I'm surprised. They didn't get Colorado, Oregon.
Yeah.
Games on ABC. I mean,
you've got to. Yeah, I don't see why not.
I mean, if you have Sean McDonough and Greg McElroy doing Florida State Clemson, that's a natural roll into the next game, which is going to be Colorado, Oregon. Yeah, at some point, these guys, I'm sure they're aching to do a game with Deion Sanders on the sidelines, right?
I would think so.
Oh, good. I always hate this. And I always pay. The only reason I went to this is to see if they put who the announcers were in the game. And they don't. But they give Oregon a 93.9% chance of winning according to their analytics, which means Colorado is a 6.1% chance.
Yeah.
Really? Wowzers. How about that? Golly gee.
Well, they were, that's for entertainment purposes only for those listening. I believe Colorado was a 21-point underdog in that game, last I checked. I mean, I haven't checked in a while. I don't do that, but it's...
No. No. Do you watch Game Day anymore?
It's tough. I turn it on if I can. Obviously, tomorrow I may because with it being a primetime game, but it's tough if it's noon or 3:30. Typically not. It's tougher. I did see the McAfee segments Friday with The Rock, but I didn't get the chance to see Saturdays.
Well, see, last week Penn State played at noon.
Yeah, and that was why.
So
I can't.
We left the hotel between 8:30 and 8:45.
Yeah.
To be there at 9:05.
Yep.
And then when I got there, the Illinois Network wanted to interview me for their pregame show, which had been set up ahead of time. Yeah. And that's fine. That's 5 minutes. That doesn't take any time to do. And then got in the booth, and then we did the pregame show. So I saw zero of Game Day last week. I heard about The Rock being there.
Yeah, I saw the Friday. Yeah, that was where he was interviewing.
I didn't see the Friday thing at all. We went out to dinner. But I think I have watched a total of maybe 5 minutes of Game Day so far.
I have not seen much. I've seen about maybe 20. That's not as much.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Not much more. Yeah. And I used to watch it on a weekly basis when I had the time.
When it was, this is when they started losing me a little bit, and it's not their fault. So please,
No.
if I am an executive at ESPN, so let me preface this. If I'm an executive at ESPN and I can have game day go from 9 to noon and sell all those commercials around it instead of 10 to noon, I'm doing it in a heartbeat because I'm going to be able to sell that opening hour, right?
That's true.
And so as an executive, I'd make the same decision. As a viewer, when they added on the extra hour, I felt like I was getting less.
Yeah,
because I felt like they were doing more filler. They were doing more filler and like less meat and potatoes. I don't really care about the signs out there. You know, some people may love the signs. I don't care about the signs. I can see the Washington State flag flying in the background on my own. I don't need any help there. Let's see. It's nice when the coach comes over. That's great. I did see. Well, I'm trying to think. Who the heck did the Eli Gold piece?
I even watched it and I can't remember. I watched a replay of it.
Yeah, I watched that. I watched. It was sent to me. That's why I watched it, because it was sent to me.
Yeah, it was Delaware weekend. I remember. I watched the replay of it,
which was great.
Yeah.
And by the way, I am still working on getting Eli to come on the show at some point.
Incredible.
Okay. One of my students had an idea. No, it's actually an excellent idea.
There you go.
So all I said was outstanding.
The one thing I would say, I think when stuff gets bigger, and this isn't all the time. Look, Taylor Swift's a prime example. This isn't all the time. But when stuff gets bigger, it often gets worse. I think that's when you look at.
Well, she was able to pull off the concert tour this time.
Yeah.
And she might be able to do it again.
Yep.
But I think
then
there
after
might be a little more selective moving forward.
Sure.
Remember when Garth Brooks came in here and played 5 shows?
So
You know,
back to back on one night.
Yeah. He played 5 shows in here. It's like, you know.
Yeah. But, the game day being one of those examples. I think when they had that 10 to noon spot, and even when you had the smaller, I can even say the smaller crowds, you know, I think the quality of the show was a lot better. And now it's still good, but it's not what it was.
This is not an indictment of the talent. Reese Davis is excellent.
Right.
Kirk Herbstreit is knowledgeable.
Incredible. Yeah.
I feel like Desmond Howard and Pat McAfee fill their roles.
I think that's the way to put it. Fills their roles. I think they're good for the spot.
And I think that, you know, Lee Corso is somebody that is
an ambassador to an extent,
a gem of an ambassador for college football, and is to be, you know, revered.
I agree.
But there's something missing with the show.
There is. And I think part of it was the expansion to 3 hours.
Right. I think they're trying to come up with stuff to fill the extra hour, which it's not that they're just filling the extra hour. It's being spread out through the show to fill the extra hour.
Right.
That just not interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Entirely.
And bigger is not always better.
That was kind of where I was looking at with my point. And that it's a lot of times not always better. If you make it work, great.
Once again,
but it's not always the case.
If I'm an executive at ESPN and they say we're going to go to 2 to 3 hours, I'm like, hey, we can sell this in a heartbeat.
Sure.
I would make the same decision.
Absolutely.
So this is not me being critical of them doing it. I just think filling the 3 hours is not easy, and it's hurting some of what they're doing. You know,
there's no question.
I just don't have the interest in it. I also, what cracks me up a little bit is we all of us say a lot of words.
Sure.
In this town, I don't think anybody's spoken more words than I have. You're like, everybody's like rolling their eyes like, oh, God, yes. That's all he does is talk. But, like, for example, somebody picks against Penn State.
Right.
Who cares?
Nobody. You might get a little boo or two, but nobody cares.
No, but I'm saying, but people take it personally.
Oh, I know.
Who cares?
No.
I mean, Desmond Howard picks against, say he does.
Yeah.
Desmond Howard picks against, oh, God, hey, Desmond Howard. He can say what he wants. It has no bearing on the outcome of the game.
No, not at all. And if anything, you make fun of them when they win.
Right.
It's not.
Lee Corso puts on a different headgear.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's part of the show.
Yes.
These guys are entitled to have an opinion. It does not matter in the result of the game.
Yes. And that's the beauty part. And again, it goes back to the point of just it's gotten bigger and it's gotten tougher. But you go back to 2005, you pick Ohio State to win.
Sure.
And you go afterwards, post game day, after the game.
Yep.
Students are as classy as they can be, yelling, say you're sorry to Lee Corso.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. It's fun.
Sure.
It's about fun. You don't take it personal. You don't literally insult the guy.
There's no need to.
No.
It's an opinion. It's words.
Exactly.
All right. Now, are there words that are hateful and destructive? Of course there are. So, yes, that always has to be checked, hateful and destructive. But picking a football game? No. Okay? Having an opinion on a program? No. As long as you get your facts straight about it. Okay. But everybody gets wound up about I think it has no bearing on the game.
Right.
None. Zero.
Exactly.
Okay. And that's... Somebody said to me something the other day about they did something at the press conference, and they were talking about what number whiteout it was.
Yeah.
And so, I guess it's the 15th All-Stadium.
15th All-Stadium. Yeah, Notre Dame's first. Yep.
And somebody came up to me and they said, what'd you think of that? I said, who cares? I said, all I care about is can they win Saturday night? I said, I could care less what number it is.
Right.
It's just like, come on. I've done all of them.
Been to all of them.
As somebody who's broadcast all of them,
I've been
with
to all
Jack
of them.
Ham and Roger and everybody, right? I'm not worried about what number it is. I'm only concerned about what's going to happen Saturday night. So we will talk about Saturday night on Monday. Are you back Monday?
I am, I believe so, yes. I'll tell you.
All right. My weekend is ruined. No. Hey, great game tonight, okay?
Looking forward to it.
As you always do.
Yes, sir.
Our best
Likewise
Adam
tomorrow.
Sheets. Thanks, appreciate it. My good friend, all kidding aside, my good friend
Yes, sir.
whom I
Likewise.
think the world of. So, hey, have a great weekend.